So the Pittsburgh Steelers just got a big dose of great news. And in this video, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. A lot of you will really debate on whether any news on Aaron Rodgers is actual good news. But on top of that, we're also going to talk about a stud wide receiver that the Steelers have been linked to all over online, and it's just forcing me to cover it. So let's look at the date today. It is May 19th, and Aaron Rodgers, he still has not signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's still not an answer here, and I think it's possible that Rodgers either picks another team or retires from football. That is completely a possibility, but I think it's becoming more and more likely that Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they know something that they're not sharing with the media. I think they're in cahoots here. And there's a lot of time passed without a sign of whether Aaron Rodgers is going to join the team or when he's going to do it. But first of all, I want to cover a couple reasons why I think he's coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers really soon. And let's look at the revenge angle here, first of all. We're looking at after the 2024 season, the Jets, they decided to release him, but to do so, they had Rodgers fly out in person. Only a brief conversation, and then they're like, hey, we're parting company. So recently during his Pat McAfee interview, Aaron Rodgers very clearly told him that he took umbrage with that, right? And he was really animated about it, and I think there's some truth to the idea. Aaron Rodgers is out for revenge, and guess what? The Steelers play the Jets in week 1. That's reason 1. So let's be realistic here in the comments. Personally, I don't like Aaron Rodgers one bit. I don't like him at all, but based on solid football issues, play on the field, do you want to see Aaron Rodgers in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform? Do you honestly think that Mason Rudolph is better than Aaron Rodgers? Let's chop it up in the comments. And I want to get a little further into this. Let's go with what Ray Fittipaldo had to say. He believes that Aaron Rodgers, his signing with Pittsburgh is imminent, and that these personal issues that he talked about on Pat McAfee, they are almost in the past. This is a direct quote from Fittipaldo. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to end his career with a bad taste in his mouth from the Jets experience. And he just said this on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. 2 bad seasons. 1 he was injured for, and they flew him in there and they told him, we don't want you back. I just talked about that. I think there's something to prove here. I think he wants to play. He's just got these personal issues that he's got to deal with. And then the clock continues to click forward, right? We're still in a waiting period. And I don't know if you know who Ian O'Connor is. He's the guy that interviewed Rodgers and, frankly, hundreds of people as research for the quarterback's biography that he just wrote, Out of the Darkness, the Mystery of Aaron Rodgers. And he has a lot to say on the matter. So I want to go straight to what O'Connor had to say. I think verbally behind the scenes, not that he guarantees it, but he's told the Steelers, listen, guys, I'm going to play for you. It's a done deal. It is going to happen. You're just going to have to be patient. I just don't want to go there and then miss part of mandatory minicamp because of my personal issues. I'm pretty sure they're going to be solved by the end of May, or at least in my satisfaction where I can give you my all. That's where I think he is. Once again, O'Connor just said that, a recent appearance on 93.7 The Fan. So what are we looking at here as far as minicamp? We got the Steelers mandatory minicamp. Emphasize the word mandatory. That starts June 10th to June 12th. And kind of looking back to last year, Aaron Rodgers missing time with the Jets really left a bad taste in the mouth of the coaching staff, frankly, the ownership, and players on that team. It's coming out now. People are no longer talking nice about that incident. And this is the due date in order for him to be successful, I think. I think the coaching staff agrees with that. They know it. I think Aaron Rodgers knows it too. So a little more from O'Connor. He thinks the same thing. He thinks that Rodgers is waiting to commit to the Steelers until his personal matters are resolved. And that's really the only barrier here, that this is going to happen. And then we're talking about last year. He missed mandatory New York Jets minicamp for an already planned trip to Egypt. A little more from O'Connor. If I had $100 to put down, my feeling is he'll be in uniform June 10th for the start of the mandatory minicamp. I don't know about OTAs, May 27th. I think that word mandatory, and I agree, the word mandatory, after what he went through last year when he missed 2 practices to be checking out the pyramids in Egypt. He was doing a little more than that, but he took so much grief for that I think he will honor this. And my suspicion is that Mike Tomlin, he's given a verbal sign-off to that already. Now, a little more on this personal matter. It's kind of old news, but I still need to cover it. He talked about that on the Pat McAfee show as the main reason for the delay. And then O'Connor, he just noted that he thinks he has a sense of what this personal issue must be. He's not comfortable repeating it right now, but a quote from him, "I don't think it would prevent him from playing football with the Pittsburgh Steelers." And then he actually went on to describe the Steelers as the perfect place for Rodgers to bring his storied career to a close. And I don't typically do a video based on someone's opinion, and I'm giving my opinion, but O'Connor, from all the time that he spent with Aaron Rodgers, writing the biography, all the people in Aaron Rodgers' life that he interviewed, the guy's got a big inside track on him. And if he talks about this in detail, I think it bears talking about here. So this is the direct quote on Rodgers' fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He knows it was an embarrassment in New York largely, and he's the face of that embarrassment. Whether that's fair or not, that's the case. It may be me as an optimist, but I think this is going to work out. Do I think the Steelers will win the Super Bowl next year? No. But if you told me 11-6 with at least one playoff victory, I think that's really realistic. And, I think it's realistic too. Aaron Rodgers did spend that 6 hours at the Steelers facilities. That's likely when a lot of these conversations were made. He's still got to decide whether he's going to finish his NFL career with the Pittsburgh Steelers or if he's going to retire altogether. But I agree with O'Connor. I agree with Fittipaldo. I think Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh is going to happen. It's just a matter of whether that's a good thing. That's what I want to talk about in the comments. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit here. Let's talk about the big trade that's being rumored for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's for a star first-round receiver. I'm just going to put it right up here. We're talking about Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. I couldn't think of the New Orleans Saints. So we're talking about when the Steelers traded for DK Metcalf. They were really praised in the media, right? And by myself as well. Like assembling a receiver core that had 2 potential number ones with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And you guys know what happened. Pittsburgh is now a Dallas Cowboy. And now it's rumored all over that the Steelers are hunting for another receiver to pair with Metcalf. And Penn Live's Steeler insider Nick Faraball, he's talking about the Steelers calling the New Orleans Saints about trading for Chris Olave. And the Saints, frankly, they're projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. And they're not showing any interest at all in trading the 24-year-old receiver at this time. I just want to really put these things to rest. I could do a sensational story about, hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to bring in Chris Olave. But all things are pointing to right now that a deal is not imminent. Maybe that changes as the NFL trade deadline approaches if the Saints are out of playoff contention. And Olave as a player, he has his warts, right? He only played 8 games last year due to multiple concussions last season, but we're looking at a guy that has 2 1,000-yard seasons to his name. Coming off that bad year, the Steelers would absolutely love to acquire a player like Chris Olave, but both sides have to be interested in this for this to happen. It's looking like right now that the Steelers' call was just kind of a check-in, kind of a kicking the tires if there was any interest there. And on top of that, Saints head coach Kellen Moore, he told reporters at the NFL owners meeting way back in March that Olave would have a real significant role in this offense. So a couple things leaning towards this deal possible at the trade deadline. I think it's definitely possible. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's set for free agency after that. New Orleans has not made any effort to extend him whatsoever, so he might not be as solidly in their team plans as they're letting on. I'm just glad that the Steelers made this call, kind of kicking the tires, so if he is made available at the trade deadline or sooner, the Steelers can pound. So let me know in the comments too, would you love to see Chris Olave as part of the Pittsburgh Steelers? And we can kick around kind of what it would cost the Steelers to get him. But the baseline of a trade is likely already talked about. The New Orleans Saints just haven't shown any interest in pulling the trigger right now. You guys, thanks for being here. I had to be gone for a little bit over the last week, taking care of a family matter. I am back giving you Pittsburgh Steelers news on the daily. Like and subscribe, and we will see you a little later. See ya.